Hey everybody, this is Cody Bateman. Welcome to our Relationship Marketing Weekly show. I'm coming to you out of Salt Lake City, Utah. I have a very special guest on with us today. We're going to announce him in just a second, but as you all are coming on from all over the United States, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, several countries represented here today, just shout out and say hi to us on this Facebook Live show. It's always exciting to see all of you who are tuning in from all over the place to learn about this thing called relationship marketing and how it is transforming the way people succeed in business and in life. And I'll tell you, I've got one of the best guests in the world on the show today to share some of this stuff with us. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome Mr. Matt Scherb, coming to us live from Oakville, Ontario, Canada. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Cody. It's great to be here. Thanks so much.
Well, we're excited. We consider you one of those smart people. You know, I say all the time, I surround myself with smart people. You're one of them. Matt is a life purpose coach. He owns a company called Possibility Omega, and very successful in the field of human behavior and helping people in a lot of different ways in their business and personal life. And Matt, it's always a delight to spend time with you and just learn from you. You've got lots of wisdom. Let's see if we can pull some of that out for our guests here today.
Well, I will try, yeah.
Well, first of all, tell us a little bit about what is it like being a life purpose coach? How do you who's your clientele? How in the past, throughout your history, have you gone out and generated business? People that are listening today, they want to know about your business and how you have been used to generating business to come in.
Sure. Okay. So the pretense of life purpose coaching is really helping people understand who they are at their core. And when they know who they are at their core, it starts to identify patterns of how things evolve for them in life. And so I have families that I work with, I have individuals that I work with, but then it spins into business or it spins into their personal life or their family relationships. So traditionally, my company's been around for about going on 6 years now, and really working with individuals, really finding their best self and really identifying who they are and how they show up. And so a lot of that comes from different elements. A lot of the work that I work with is more on a spiritual level. So I'm working with people's birthdays and that kind of information. So initially, my way of coming about business was from networking events or just really understanding people and who they know that would be able to benefit from that kind of a service. But being a bit more spiritual is a little bit different because I was asking for people's birth information and triangulates a lot of information about them. And so when I came across send out cards, it was more so I was not recognizing people for their birthdays. Even though I get that, it's kind of a flash of the obvious. I'd have these people's birthdays, but I never really sent them anything other than a text or an email. But it worked.
Okay, so in the past, you went to networking events, you texted, you emailed people and stuff like that, and then you came upon Send Out Cards, which is the premier relationship marketing system in the world today, and you started using it, and obviously you started with birthday cards because that's a big part of what you did. You've got some pretty compelling stories, the significant impact that sending tangible touches out has done for your business. Just share a couple of those with us.
Sure. So it was in and around July of 2015 where I started using the system, and it was really just for birthday cards. It was for thanking people for their business and thanking referral partners for passing referrals to me. And so I'd send a very personalized touch, whether it was a birthday card where I'd put the person's first name on the front of the card. And it's interesting, Cody, inside of 30 days, I found that my referrals that I was receiving just by sending cards, very basically sending a birthday card or a thank you card, I tripled my referrals very rapidly. And it's because I was staying top of mind with my clients. So a birthday card, I spin it out 3 years later. This one card that I sent to an individual with a very unique name, she has never thrown this card away. I've received 17 referrals from a card like this. She doesn't have my business card, but she sure as heck has this birthday card tucked in her portfolio. And if anyone needs a life purpose coach, she says, hey, call Matt. His contact details are right here on the back of the card.
Okay, so from one person that you send a birthday card to, you've received 17 referrals?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about effectiveness of marketing, I mean, how argue with those kind of results? It's just
Absolutely.
amazing. People crave the feeling of being appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear all the time, and chances are this may have even happened with this lady. A lot of times when even in a business setting, when you send a birthday card to somebody and only say happy birthday to them, and you have your branded information on the back, but you're not asking them for anything, you're just saying happy birthday. I hear stories all the time about how it's the only birthday card they got that day. They didn't get a birthday card from anybody in their family, nobody in their personal life. Your birthday card's the only birthday card, and then we wonder why they become such referral machines for you. They felt appreciated by you.
I went in to see a prospect once, and just sitting with him, he had 3 years of my birthday cards on his desk. He didn't get rid of them.
Wow.
Because it meant something to him. And when you physically touch someone at the heart, at the core, they don't throw it out because you've appreciated them. It's huge.
Yeah, there's no question about it. In fact, I'm just right here. I had a birthday recently, and so right here is a stack of birthday cards I received, another stack I received, and I got a whole nother stack over there. I still haven't even gotten through all the birthday cards, but here's what's interesting. The only reason I share that with you is I don't throw any of those away, ever. Like over the years, I've received thousands of birthday cards. I never throw any of them. I can't. They're too special to me, and so they stay with you. Now, business cards, I have to confess, I collected 10 business cards over the last 5 days, and they're in my bag somewhere. But You see what I mean? It makes a big difference. So trade shows, you've done follow-ups at trade shows. You've got some stories from that. Can you share those with us?
Yeah, it's just a very basic card. So when I go to a trade show, and I'm not doing as many trade shows now because a lot of my word of mouth, a lot of my business comes from word of mouth now. It's not so much from trade shows. But back 3 years, I would do a card that I'd send to someone from the trade show saying, thank you for coming to my booth. And if they took action within a certain period of time, I would offer them some sort of a benefit for taking action from a card like this. And while I got some great feedback from it, I found that I was discounting my services, and I'm not a big discounter because my services are really important to a family. I did get business from that. I got more business than my competitors did because they didn't take that action. They would ask people for their email address, and they'd get disclosures, and they'd get emails. And people really don't like getting a lot of emails, I found, after the fact. A card, though, is something that would have a little bit more of a tangible touch because it reminded them of the event, whether I had a picture of the booth or a picture of myself at the booth working with them and talking to them. It just created a different bond with that prospect.
So, yeah, we know that about 11% of emails get opened. A greeting card is 11 times more likely to be opened up than any other piece of mail that you get in a mailbox. So there's a lot of statistics that really show the value of what you do in these tangible touches. You kind of know the power of a tangible touch in a little bit deeper perspective. I want you to talk to us. You're a life coach, and this is what you do. So I'd like you to do it on the show.
Yeah.
There's some psychological effect of that tangible appreciation touch that I don't think you can get with any other form of communication. Can you just kind of educate us a little bit on what that really means?
Well, okay, I'll try. So everything on earth has a resonance. It has a frequency. It has a vibration. And when you have something in written form, it has a different vibration than a spoken form. So if I was speaking to you, there's a frequency of the words that I'm using and things like that. But when I'm actually writing something down, it has another frequency. But when I'm putting gratitude out, and there's something called the Hawkins scale of consciousness, which goes from 0 to 1,000. And people can read about the Hawkins scale of consciousness or the power versus force. But everything has a frequency. And 80% of humanity lives below a certain frequency that has a lot more negativity and more challenges. That brings a lot of that challenge to the world today. We have wars. We've got all sorts of things going on in the world. But gratitude has a slightly higher resonance, a higher frequency. It's actually on the Hawkins scale of consciousness, I believe it's around 420. But it's a higher frequency regardless. So when I'm actually sending someone something that's in the mail that has an element of gratitude in it, it actually makes them feel better. It makes them feel good because they're in the space of that higher frequency, that happy point. And so when we do these things and when we put these messages out to people, take a picture of your family, for instance. When you see that picture, it puts a smile on your face. When you get a greeting card that makes you feel good, that somebody actually cared, it again increases frequency and vibration. When someone is not well, when they're sick, when they're battling some sort of disease, their frequency is lower. So by sending something out to them that is in gratitude, gratitude is a very high frequency. Whether you send something, a get well card to somebody or just thinking about you card, you've actually made them feel better. If you help a senior citizen who might be in some sort of form of depression, they receive a card with their grandkids on it. It makes them feel happy. It's a dopamine effect. It's all sorts of different chemicals that it injects into your system that makes you happy. And that's what we want for the world. And that's what I find helps my business because I'm able to tap into that from a frequency perspective.
So you mentioned dopamine, you mentioned chemicals of the brain. Unfortunately, there's a lot of substances that you can put in your body to manipulate or counter these things. So what you're saying is you don't need that. A tangible touch actually would release the natural, like dopamine it's an enhancer, right? It's makes you feel good kind of stuff.
Yeah. As different elements, and there's dopamine and all sorts of different chemicals that are released from a neural perspective that actually are feel good things for you. And that's what's so important for people. There's a lack of happiness on the earth right now. And we could use more of that right now.
Well, and that was my next question, in light of what's going on in the world, all of the friction and the hate and the separation and all the crazy stuff, social media kind of amplifies it all. Doesn't that make, because there's so much of that negativity, doesn't that make what you're doing even more powerful? I mean, you see what I'm saying?
It does. And it does from the perspective of, I'm out here in left field or right field. I'm out on the periphery. I'm not doing what the mainstream is doing. A lot of people, if I was to put a Facebook note on your Facebook saying, happy birthday, Cody, it's your birthday, all the best to you, it scrolls off. You may not remember. You may have gotten 300 of those on that specific day. It may have been more of an irritant for you because your phone kept pinging off on you.
Right.
But when you get a card that you're not throwing away, there's a feeling there. And when you actually reach out and touch someone from that perspective, listen, my background from a religious perspective, we didn't spend a lot of time celebrating birthdays. But now, in my older years, things have changed for me, and I am celebrating birthdays, and I celebrate people's lives. And it makes a huge difference when you reach out and touch someone.
Yeah.
Whether it's an event that happens every year or people don't want to celebrate their birthday or whatever the case may be, they don't want to grow old, you're reaching out and touching someone, and you're making them have a happier day. And it's a memorable touch. Just like you had those cards that you just showed us. Those are all memories for you.
They are.
Your Facebook feed isn't.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, and here's what's funny. A lot of these cards, I'll just show you one right now. A lot of these cards, here's a card right here that was sent to me at one of the events we had. It's a picture of me hugging my son who received an award. And, and then on the inside, it's got the whole group and all that. These pictures were pulled off of Facebook.
Yeah.
So these are all featured on Facebook. And like you said, it's cool. You see it, but you scroll past it. Well, somebody took the time to pull those pictures off of Facebook and through our system, put them on a card and send me the card. So like you said, the Facebook thing is come and gone. This is going to sit on my shelf. Like literally this will sit on my shelf because it shows something that means a lot to me. And again, kind of tie that back to the whole psychological effect that has on me, which is really powerful. So, and proof is in the pudding. Your results tripled your referral business. And do you do any other kind of marketing today, or?
No, it's I don't do any search engine optimization. In fact, my website's not even that up to date because it's all word of mouth referrals, and it's huge.
Yeah, and I think that's somebody that everybody desires to have. So it's just real powerful. The power of the tangible touch. It's a really good thing. So Matt, appreciate your input. in a very short period of time, you have given us the typical Matt Scherb words of wisdom, and we've been enlightened from it. Any final words of counsel or wisdom from you as we finish?
I think on the stream of gratitude, it's huge. Putting gratitude out and making it about your client, not yourself. It speaks volumes. It's a tangible touch. It's not a touch that goes away. And whatever you can do from a client perspective, also differentiating yourself, making it a different world for them, that they can appreciate you and you appreciate them, and creating that solid bond with a customer is huge. And gratitude is really what the world needs a lot of. And so that's how I differentiated myself. And I think anyone that wants to differentiate themselves can do so with a tangible touch. And gratitude speaks volumes.
Well, thank you, Matt. Appreciate you. Once again, Matt Scherb out of Oakville, Ontario, Canada. Really appreciate your words of counsel and wisdom today. If you're on here and you're listening and you want to know how Matt uses or what type of service he uses, just get back with the person that shared this show with you today, and I'm sure they'll be able to share with you the system that Matt uses. Appreciate all of you, and we'll see you next week on another episode of Relationship Marketing Weekly. Take care, everybody, now.